welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that sounds complicated, and honestly, often is. Getting your important documents recognized internationally.
Right. Things like university diplomas, birth certificates. If you need them valid outside the country, you often run into this word, apostille.
Exactly, apostille. And if you've ever bumped up against this, you probably know it can feel, well, pretty confusing, like navigating a maze.
It really can. We've actually got a source here, an excerpt that dives into this exact problem, especially for folks in Massachusetts.
Perfect. So that's our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
Unpack this source. We want to figure out, what an apostille is really for, why it seems so difficult, particularly maybe for things like diplomas, and look at the solution this source talks about.
Okay, let's get into it. The source, it lists several document types needing this apostille: birth certificates, marriage certificates, powers of attorney.
Corporate documents too, right? And it specifically mentions university diplomas.
Yes, definitely university diplomas. Basically, any key document you need to prove is legitimate for use in another country, particularly one signed up to the Hague Apostille Convention. That apostille is the official thumbs up on the signature or seal.
And the source is pretty blunt about the difficulty, isn't it? It calls doing it yourself time-consuming and complex.
It does, which honestly probably rings true for anyone who's even, Googled how to get their diploma apostilled for a job abroad or maybe more studies.
Yeah, it's definitely not just a quick errand. You can't just pop down to the local office.
No way. The complexity often involves figuring out the state-level steps first, before you even get to the apostille itself. Which office handles what? Are your forms filled out exactly right? It's easy to get tripped up.
Okay, so recognizing that hassle, the source then points towards a specific service.
Right. It mentions MassachusettsApostilleServices.com.
And how does the source describe them? What do they offer?
It says they offer expert, convenient, and fast apostille services. And interestingly, it highlights that they serve Boston residents, businesses, and importantly for this discussion, students.
Students, okay. So they seem keyed into that need for things like diplomas.
It certainly suggests that. And a key point the source makes is their specialization. They focus only on Massachusetts apostilles.
Why is that focus important, do you think? According to the source, I mean.
Well, the source connects that focus directly to minimizing errors and delays. The idea is if you only handle Massachusetts documents, you become deeply familiar with the specific process here. You know the ins and outs of dealing with the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office.
Ah, okay. So you avoid common pitfalls specific to this state. That makes sense, especially if you're on a deadline for, say, an international job offer or university admission.
Exactly. Getting a detail wrong could mean starting over, which might cost you that opportunity. So precision matters.
So for listeners in Massachusetts feeling overwhelmed by this, the source gives them a direct path.
It does. It provides a phone number, 978-424-4629.
978-424-4629. Got it. And is there a office address mentioned?
Yep, 1215 Main Street in Tewksbury, Massachusetts.
Tewksbury, okay. And I think you mentioned a sort of tagline they use in the source.
Yeah, it describes them as your local experts for a global reach.
That sums it up pretty well, actually. Local knowledge for international needs.
It captures that connection, needing someone who gets the specific local rules here in Massachusetts to help you operate on a global level.
So boiling it down, what's the main takeaway here from this source material?
I think the core message is, yes, getting documents apostilled, especially specific ones like university diplomas in a place like Massachusetts, is complex. But the source highlights that specific specialized help exists, like this service, designed to bridge that gap between local process and global needs.
It really underscores how important those seemingly small administrative details can be on a bigger stage. Which leaves us with a thought, maybe. Just how critical is getting every single detail right when you're preparing documents for international use? Think about the opportunities, jobs, education, business deals that could genuinely depend on navigating that bureaucratic step correctly the first time. Something to think about.